Welcome back. You're watching Technology Behind Business. Modern businesses are driven by applications, which means that getting applications right and getting them out fast is an imperative. The pace of change means the network has become the focal point for innovation, and that's where software-defined networking becomes critical. To find out how businesses are taking advantage, Emmanuel Bonnassie, Senior Vice President at F5 Networks, joins us from our Melbourne studio. Emmanuel, thanks so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ned. Thanks for having me on the show.
First of all, just explain to us what F5 Networks does. Tell us a bit about the business.
So our business is very simple. We're all about the application. We're helping organizations to deliver application faster in a more secure way to anyone, anywhere, without constraints. So we're very aligned with the focus trends in the industry about businesses orienting themselves to application and delivering superior service to customers.
And explain to us what software-defined networking, or SDN, is.
Sure. Let me draw a backdrop to your question. I think the industry went into PC invention 20, 30 years ago. The infrastructure was built around PCs, then internet came, and then there's been a wave of virtualization. Started 10 years ago. It started with the computation, it went into storage, and now we're around the network, which is the last piece of the puzzle. So what the industry is trying to do is change the agility of the infrastructure to make it more agile to support the application. So from an F5 perspective, we feel very good about where we are in the sweet spot of enabling those applications and rendering the network more agile to support the business. This is a trend we've seen started 12 months ago, and we're at the beginning of that trend.
And F5 calls this the central nervous system, if you will, of the modern network. Why is that?
So F5 called this a central nervous system because we need to support this application and deployment. We need to make decisions about allocating resources from an infrastructure perspective to support the business. We believe through time, and the analysts are saying, that by 2018, business people will deploy applications to drive business and want an infrastructure that is agile to support them. So F5 is working very close to the application to enable that infrastructure to be agile with some of our partner ecosystem.
And as you mentioned, it is suggested that the SDN market is set to grow by more than $8 billion by 2018. Which industry is leading the adoption of SDN in Australia?
So from an Australia perspective, I think there are two main sectors that we'll refer to in terms of leading the change in the industry. The first one is the financial industry, being very aggressive at trying to reap the benefit of changing their infrastructure to provide superior customer experience and differentiate themselves as a banking business or even services business, a superannuation business. The other sector I can talk about is the telecommunications sector is also going very aggressively into this trend to enable a better service to the customer and customers' differentiation so they can market themselves and become more profitable in the future and more agile.
And what about the broader adoption of this? Where do you see the biggest growth sector outside of finance and telecommunications?
So I think if I bring it back, I think there is a dimension that is interesting for Australia and Asia, which is, I think we're at the leading front of that change for a couple of reasons. I think from an Australian market perspective, customers are very aggressive in adopting infrastructure change and deploying it, which can be seen from a cloud adoption perspective. From a more Asia perspective, there is a lot of infrastructure already being built, but also new infrastructure going in. Customers are taking that advantage, take the new infrastructure and leapfrog because they're a lot less the legacy, and they see this as a key differentiation for themselves. F5 is enabling them to go down that path and that journey of evolution of their infrastructure to deliver application in a better way.
Emmanuel Bonnassie, Senior Vice President at F5 Networks. Always appreciated, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan.